And then I'll go ahead and I'll share the screen. I'm going to share the screen. And I'm going to switch to my Photoshop screen. There we go. So hopefully everybody can see this. So when we're working with video, the setup is a little bit different. So I'm going to go ahead and start by creating a new image here. And by default, it selects the last image size that we created. You can use the default Photoshop image, but at the top, this is what I want you to take note of. What we want to use at the end are some film and video sizes. What we're going to use for this lesson is this one here. It's HDV, HDTV, 720 pixels. So it's 1280 by 720. That's the one that we want. When you're working in video, everything is at 72 pixels per inch. So when we look to the right, you can see here's the width and the height, 72 pixels per inch, and by default, it's going to use a white background. So I'll go ahead and I'll click create. And there we have it, okay? That's our default. Now, my desktop is set to the last project that we worked on, which was the digital painting. Instead of digital painting, in order to see the timeline, you have to switch to motion. And as soon as I do, you'll notice down at the bottom here that we have a timeline for our video. That is critical. That is really, really important. So they've provided all of the files for us that we want to do. And so what I need to do to import those files, and we'll see them in the layers panel in a minute, and that we'll place them on the timeline, is I need to create a video timeline here. And there we go. By default, it has layer 0. So what I want to do is I'm going to click here, and I want to add media to this group. And the media that I'm going to find should be in my lesson. So here at the top here, I have Adobe Photoshop 2019 lessons. Wherever you have yours saved is where you're going to get yours. Let me close lesson 10. And I'm going to open lesson 11. And you can see there's a sunset JPEG. There, we have a beach song MP3 that we will import later, which is the sound, the music that we will be adding to our video. There is a jumping JPEG. We have all of these JPEGs. These are the ones that we want to add. And we have some movies that we want to add. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to click on the sunset, hold down the Command key and select the jumping JPEG, the dogs JPEG, the dogs at the beach movie, the boat ride movie, and the family JPEG. I'm going to leave the end PSD and the end MP4 alone. Those are the final project. That's the final project. So I'll go ahead and open those now. And it's converting the colors. And you can see that they've already been placed in layers. And at the bottom here, if I want to stretch this out just a little bit so I can see what's been added, it's been added, but you know what? They are in the wrong order. That is weird. They have been reversed. So I'm going to take this clip and I'm going to remove it. This one goes at the very end. So I'm just, you know, I'm not accustomed to this. We don't normally do that. I'm going to move that to the end. Here's the picture of the family. They go back at the beginning. Then we have the boat video. I'll just click and drag it here to the next one. We have this one here. Let's move this one down. There we go. So here's the other dog video. We're going to move that there. Here's the boy jumping. Here's a dog at the beach at the very end, and here's the end. So I've got them in the right order. Let me go ahead and move this up a little bit so you can see this a little bit better. One of the first things that I want to do with this is I want to make sure that all of these video clips, this is a part of the lesson, need to be the same length. They're going to be 3 seconds long. So to do that, you select the video just by clicking on it once, or the still image. And that's something to take note of, is that you can select, hold on, there you go, either a video or a still image. Come on. Let's move the playhead over this. And you can control, if you move the cursor over the end of it, I can shorten it. Come on. You know what? I may have problems with this because I'm in a new version here. There we go. Let's go over the end. There we go. So as I click and I drag it from the right, notice at the end, it says that it ends at 3 seconds, 3 and 2600ths of a second. So I want the entire duration to be 3 seconds. So this is a still image that I'm editing. Now we have a video of, let's deselect. I have a video of a boat. And so I'm going to move the playhead so you can see this video, and I'm going to scrub through it using the playhead at the top. That allows me to do that. Okay. And what I want to do is I want to shorten it from the back end. We can shorten from the front end, or we can shorten from the back end, either way. It doesn't permanently clip the content from this video. It just allows me to change the duration of it. If I wanted to edit from the middle of it, I would have to do something a little bit different. So again, I'm going to move this to the left, clip it down here to a total of, again, 3 seconds. Boom, 3 seconds long. And as I'm shortening these, again, I can use this little slider at the bottom to stretch this out so I can see a little bit better what I'm doing here. Okay, let's move this a little bit more. There we go. So the next one that I'm going to do is the dog, and the same thing, deselect, select the dog one, move over the edge, and then continue to shorten each of these to a total of 3 seconds in length. Duration, 3 seconds. I want the bottom there, 3 seconds. There you go. 3 seconds. Deselect, click the jumping one. And again, I want to shorten it. Look at the duration of it at the bottom. And again, I want it to be 3 seconds. There we go. One more. Actually, there's 2 more. Dogs at the beach. Move over the end of it and reduce it all the way down. Actually, this one goes, yeah, this one gets moved. This isn't in the right order. That's okay. Let me do this again. I got to move some stuff on my screen here. Let's go over the edge of this. 3 seconds. What I can do is I can click here. Let's click here. There we go. On duration, it says 3.14 seconds. I can change it here as well. So I'm going to go ahead and just say 3 seconds. There we go. Deselect, select the sunset. I just need to make sure that they're all 3 seconds long. There's that one. And I need to move them. This is correct. This one needs to be back here. There we go. This one goes, I think this one goes here, if I'm not mistaken. Somehow the names of these got changed. Before they were named correctly, and if they're named in a numerical sequential order, then they'll automatically go on the correct order here. And we can see in our layers panel here, they're not, yeah, the family's first, and now it's reordered them all. So we're good to go. One more thing that we want to do now. You'll notice that the family portrait here is cropped. And I want to make sure that we see the and resize the family so that we see them in their entirety. So what I want to do is I want to click here, and it says no motion. Well, I'm going to temporarily select pan and zoom. And when I do that, I want to resize the fit screen. Okay. And now notice that they fit to the screen. You don't have to do that with the video. Here's another video. We don't need to do that, but I do want to do it with this one as well. So I might as well go ahead and take care of that now. But what I also want to go back to and do is, for this one, I want to turn off no motion. I don't want any of the motion, but I did want to resize the screen. Likewise, I'll go ahead and I'll take this one here, and I'm going to click here. And it says no motion, but I'll switch to pan and zoom. And I want it to resize so that when I click off of it, it's resized. And you don't see that until I scrub over that. Okay, there he is. So let me go ahead and scrub over the next one. And the same one is true too. I'm going to go ahead and click here, and it says no motion, pan and zoom, turn off, turn back on to make sure that it's resized to fit. Let's go back again and make sure that I turned off pan and zoom. So I don't want that now. I will add that in a moment. And the same with the last one. I'll scrub over to this one, click on the end, no motion, pan and zoom, resize. So for still images, if they're larger than what's needed, you need to use this little trick right here to be able to make sure that they are resized. So what I need to do here, let's go back. And we're going to add a new layer, because I think I have everything cropped to the current duration and size that we need. But what I want to do now is add some text on top of this and make it move. What I'll do before I do any of this, though, is I'm going to show you the finished one, which I probably should have opened before. And here is the end, lesson 11 and PSD. So let's go ahead and open that. And you can see that if I scrub through this, there's some text. Notice that where it says beach day. Scrubs, you know, I can scrub that and make it go across the entire screen here. And you can see some other effects that have been added. Any of the filters that you can apply to any other layers can be done to video as well. Okay, so let me go back, and I'm going to select mine. And let's go ahead and select here. And what I want to do to the video layer is I want to add a new video group. So that's going to be on top. This is where we're going to add the text. Okay. So what I need to do with this new video group here is I'm going to make sure that it's selected up here. And I'm going to add text by using the text tool, just like I would here. If I go to the end one and I select the text, I'm sort of cheating a little bit. Because what we're using is Myriad Pro regular 600 point. Okie doke. So if I go back to this one now and I select the text, again, it's already set to Myriad Pro. So what I can do up here now is make sure that I have flush left, and I can click anywhere that I want here. But I need to make sure down in my timeline that I have the beginning of my the beginning of the timeline set, so that when it inserts it at the beginning of my of the video. So let's go ahead here and click on the type tool. Okay, and I'm just going to type beach tool or beach day. B-E-A-C-H-D-A-Y. Okay, and let's go ahead and click off of that. And I'm going to use the move tool and move it down in position, because this is where I want it to start. I want it to be up here a little bit. Over here is where I want it to be. And you're also noticing layers, it opens up as a text layer, just as if we were working in for print, but I want to change the opacity of it. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to dial this back a little bit. We're going to go to maybe 40%. I don't remember what the book specifies. What I could do though, is let's just go back over to the end video. Let's see what they have here. They changed the opacity to 25%. Okay, that's pretty low. Well, I can do that as well. Let's go ahead and change that to 25%. There we go. So you can see that as I've added text, it adds text here, and I'm going to go ahead and close it a little bit. So it's a little bit longer than the first clip. But what I want to do is I want to make this text move. I want to make it go from right to left. So what we want to do is we want to add what are called keyframes. Keyframes are a term taken from early animation, and they indicate where there is a change in the action. So the first keyframe is where we want the action to start, and where we want it to end is over here to the left. So to do that, I turn down this little thing here, and what I want to do is I want to add transform. That's what I'm doing. I'm adding transform. Notice that there's other options that we can animate as well. We can animate opacity over time, style over time, text wrap. I want to just affect the movement. So if I click here, notice that it adds this little gold diamond at the bottom of this. Well, this indicates a keyframe. Now if I move the playhead to the very end, okay, and I select the type and I move it over, hold down the shift key so it doesn't scroll above, or it doesn't go above or below, and move it all the way to the end like so. Notice that it automatically added another keyframe at the very end. So now when I scrub through this, it starts from the right and it moves across to the left. That's exactly what I wanted. So now we can go ahead and we're done with that. We can close that. We don't need that anymore. And we're ready to, oh, come on. I want to allow me, oh, close it here, sorry. There we go. Now I'm ready to edit the rest of this down here. I'm going to leave the family alone. I don't need them. The video for the boat, I've already cropped the end of it. I can leave that alone. What I want to do with the dog running across here, though, is I want to add a filter to it. So I'm going to add a black and white filter and add color to it. Remember what we're going to do here with this. Let's see, let's make sure that's deselected. Select here. Got to make sure that the dog at the beach movie, there we go, is selected. And with this layer selected, I'm going to go ahead up to the top and I'm going to add, actually I don't need to go to the top. I do need to move some stuff around on my desktop. And I'm going to add an adjustment layer. And I'm going to add a black and white adjustment layer. And I only want it to be affected to the one, not all the way below, but this one. So I'm going to make sure that it's affected to just that one by holding down the Option key, moving between the layers and making sure that it's only affected there. Let's look at the, let me close this a minute here. What I want to do is I want to add a tint. And there we go. It's added a tint to the entire video here. And again, if I look at this group and I twirl down, I can see everything here. Let's go ahead and here, and it's added it to the entire layer. I don't need a keyframe for this because it's doing, it's remaining permanent for the whole one. However, if I wanted to go from color to black and white, I would have to add a keyframe, just as I did for the movement of the text. The next thing that we want to change is we want this guy to go from the bottom of the screen to the top of the screen. So we're going to do something very similar to what we had done with the text. Only I'm going to go ahead and close them. I'm going to open this one. Let's close. Let's move this over here. There we go. Let's make sure that the group is open here. There we go. So we do have keyframes here. So let's see what happened here. That zooms in. That shouldn't be. Oh, am I looking at the end? Am I looking at the end one? Oh my goodness. I am so sorry. Let me go back. No, this is the untitled one. Okay, why this was added here, I don't know. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to remove these keyframes and do it. Oh, I know why. Let me go back up here. Because I left pan and zoom on. I don't want any motion. So let's go back here. And let's go back and the keyframes removed. There you go. I forgot to do something. There we go. So what you need to do though, is that you need to make sure that when you select and you want to edit a video clip, that you see the little the layers beneath for it to be activated. And you also need to move the playhead over where you want the start to be and any other keyframes you want to add. So again, we're going to move this into position. I'm going to use the move tool and move it down like so, because this is where I want it to start. Like so. I want it to start there, and then over time I want it to move to the end. So again, I'm going to add a transform. It adds the keyframe. I move to the very end of my clip, and I want it to move up. So now I'm going to go ahead and hold down the shift key, move it up and hold down the shift key, and notice that it adds another keyframe. And when I scrub over it, you can see that it's allowed me to move from one position to another, which is pretty cool. So I've got pretty much, everything going pretty well here. One of the next things that we want to do here is we are going to, let me go ahead and make sure that this is closed. And I want this one now. I got to close that. There we go. And I want this one here. I want this one open. Because if I don't close this one and try to edit this one, it will affect this video instead of this one. So I have to make sure that this one is closed before I edit this one. So now what I can do is I'm going to go ahead and I am going to add pan and zoom to this one. Okay. So now when I apply it, it just applies it to the entire frame here. Okay. So we have quite a bit of our video done already. One more thing that we want to add now are called transitions. Right now, when we scrub through, I'm not going to play this. We have a playhead up here and a rewind, and we can cut the video from here, and we can add, these are where we add the transition effects and that sort of thing. So this is basically our playhead here, where there are our play buttons. But what I want to do is I want to create a transition. Rather than have it jump from this image to this video, I want to do what is called a crossfade. And if I click here, there are a number of transitions that are available to us. We can have it fade, you can have it fade to white, fade to black, or you can fade to a color. I'm going to use crossfade. To use the transitions, all I have to do is click on it and drag between these two videos. And you can see that if I click on it and double click, actually, let's see here. Let's go back up. There we go. If I control click on it, I can change the duration. Right now, the default duration of the crossfade is set to 1 second. And because my clips are relatively short, you probably don't want the crossfade to be any longer than that. But if you had a much longer clip and you wanted a longer transition from one clip to another, then you could do that. I'm going to shorten this a little bit more. There we go. So let's go back and I'm going to select the transitions again, and I'm going to go ahead and for each one, I'm going to add a crossfade to each one. Just click and drag between each of the clips. And I also want to close this one. There we go. So now watch when I scrub through here. I scrub from the opening through here. Let's see, why is that disappearing? Why it's disappearing from there? It's glitchy. But when I scrub between them, notice that there's a transition. It doesn't jump from one clip to another. It fades from one and fades out from one and fades into another. Very nice effect for a smoother video here. So we're just about ready to wrap this up. The only thing that we need to do now is add sound. To add sound to this, we can use an MP3 file. And that's what we're going to do down here. If I click here and I want to add audio, it's going to go back to my folder. And here's that beach song, MP3. And I'm going to go ahead and open that. And that goes in here. But notice that the length of the music extends way beyond the length of my video. Now, if you wanted to do a little more refined editing of the video or the sound, you would need to use another tool. It allows me to cut this right now and get rid of the sound that I don't need at the very end. And I'm going to fade it out at the end anyway. So where I cut it is unimportant. But what I will do for that is I'm going to go ahead and move the playhead. So let's take the playhead and move it to the end of our video here. And I'm going to use the scissors, and notice that the beach song, it cut it right there. Now you can do that with video as well, but because our video clips are so short, you probably wouldn't want to do that. Otherwise, when we, at the very beginning, when we shortened the length of them from the front or the back, it's not a permanent edit. This is a permanent edit. So now that I can select the end of the beat song, just delete that. Okay. So I've added crossfades between each of these. And now what I want to do to the end one here is I want to add a fade out. So if I click here, actually, I don't want to click there. I didn't want to do that. I'm going to go ahead up here, and I want this one to fade to black. So I'm just going to click at the very end here. And if I, again, control click on it, I control, and I'll control this to maybe 1.5 seconds. Let's do that. So this will fade to black at the very end. So now when I, rather than have an abrupt change, just fades to black. And this is if I wanted to add additional frames to my video and add credits, I can do that. Another thing that I want to do to the video itself is that I want to add a transition as well. I want it to fade to black as well. So I can mute, or I can fade in or fade out. I'm going to fade out, and I'm going to make that again maybe the same length, about 1.5 seconds. 1.3 seconds. Okay. And you can see that there is, should be, I changed the wrong one, I think. Control, that's right. Okay, let's go down here. Fade out. Let's, again, I'll make sure that it's 1.3 seconds. Or 1.5, sorry. Okay, so it should fade. If I play this, let's see what I get. Let me go ahead and play this. Go back all the way to the beginning and play this. There you go. So we're almost done. The only thing more that we need to do is that you'll notice that when it played, especially when it played the boat video, that you could hear the boat sound from that video in there. We want to mute that. We don't want to delete it, but we do want to mute it. So if I click on this little arrow here, let's click here. No, this one, sorry. Wrong one. I don't want to edit that. I want to edit this one here. I don't want to change the duration. I want to change the music. And you'll see that down here, I can either fade the music in or the sound in or fade it out. I can adjust the volume from here. But what I want to do for each of these, for this and the dog video, is I want to mute it so that when I play it again, you won't be able to hear it. So let's select the next one. Let's see. Let's change the dot. Oh, that's that one. Let's change this one too. Sound, that's muted. Got to make sure I got the right ones here. I'll mute that one. So both of these are muted. So let me play this again. Bring the playhead back, at least before the here. The not all the way to the beginning, but we can play it. And now you'll notice that the sound from the boat video has been muted. So now I want to make sure that I save this. So I'll save it as a Photoshop file. I'm going to save on my computer. And I'll just save it as lesson 11. So you can see here. Working file. Okay. Save it as a Photoshop file. There we go. We have one last step to do. Because this would, if you wanted to burn this on a DVD or share it on the web or something like that, it would not accept the Photoshop file. It needs to be an MP4 file. So what we need to do for this is export it. I go to File, and I go to Export up here under File. And what I want to do is, there we go, Render Video. It's almost near the bottom. When I do that, a little dialog box should pop up, and we're going to keep all the name of our file, and notice that it will be an MP4. It's going to use the Adobe Media Encoder to do that. We have some other things that we can change as well. If, for example, if you have a really long video and you don't want to render all of the frames, right now we have 389 frames. You can render from frame 10 to frame 50 if you want. We can change the quality of the video and do a variety of things. We're just going to leave the default settings for this lesson and click Render. Goes through exporting the video and saves it as an MP4 file. And you can open that on a Macintosh platform using QuickTime. And that will also enable you to upload that to YouTube if you wanted to, or any other, or burn it on a DVD. So that pretty much wraps up the demonstration. I'm going to stop sharing in a moment. And then we'll, if there are any questions or comments or anything, let me know. So let's just take a couple of minutes to render this. While it's rendering, just to let you know, when you edit video in Photoshop, it's sort of a pared down version of Adobe Premiere. Premiere is Adobe's version of editing. It's not Final Cut. It's not any other program. It's just Adobe's program. I've only done the edited video in Photoshop doing this lesson. I've never edited any other video. So I don't know how well it edits longer video. Right now, it's a little over, 12 seconds long. That's not very long. So my thinking is, depending on the computer that you have and its ability to save files and its capacity for saving files, and as well as the processor speed and that sort of thing, that if you want to render or edit video in Photoshop, this would be really good for social media, because all of those ads that you see on social media, whether it's TikTok or Instagram or YouTube, or not YouTube, but yeah, ads on YouTube, they can be really short, 10-second ads. You could also, any other social media that you think of, Facebook, whatever, it would be really useful for that. And a lot of video editing is done for media now. I do have one former student who spends all her time doing that now. Was hired for a company, and that's how she earns her living. So it's been rendered. We can play that if you want in QuickTime, but I'm not going to do that today. But if I go back to the folder, I go to File, Open. Maybe I will do it just for the heck of it. And here's the end video. Here's the one that they created. Here's the MP4 that I created from this lesson. So if I double click on that, okay, you'll notice it's opening in Photoshop. I didn't want to do that. I would have to, don't save that. I would have to open up QuickTime. I don't know that I have QuickTime Player in my dock down here. Let me look real quick. I don't think I do. So let's skip that part of it. But anyway, let me go ahead and stop sharing. Let's go back here. So do any of you have any questions? Sharon, do you have a question? Let me go ahead and turn your talking on. And also, who else? Sharon?
Yeah, I have a question.
Sure.
I don't know if I could share for my Photoshop or like the movie poster.
Oh, you can. Oh, if I turn this on, if I switch from, I'm going to promote you to a panelist. Now you should be able to share. Okay, can you share it?
Yeah, okay, how do you do it?
There should be at the bottom, I think at the bottom of your screen, it could be at the top. There's a little green panel that says sharing screen. And what you're going to do now, since I promoted you to panelist, you should be able to share your screen with me.
I don't know where it is. Oh, it's a share screen. Oh, so you guys see it. So then I put in the movie.
Yeah, just go ahead and click on it. And then it's going to show you. Sure.
Okay, this is what I have on the movie poster.
Okay, so a few things I would do. Rather than have your title down here.
On the freaking.
Yeah, move it up here. Move it up to the top. You can't see my I don't think you can see my thing here. And where you have your text at the top, on the right-hand side.
Oh, the one, this is the quote?
Yeah, right. Put both of those on the same horizontal layer and change the color from blue to maybe a white or a much lighter color. It doesn't have to be white, and add the drop shadow so it can be seen there. Move your title where it says Kingdom Hearts up right about to the mid-neck of your creature, and then allow space at the bottom for credits. And I would probably use white for the credits.
So like at the top?
No, not that far. About midway, mid to top, a little bit higher up, above the mouth. Right there. That's good. Right there. Okay. Now move the heart up.
Okay, now move.
Whoa. Down a little bit. That's good, right about there. Up a little bit.
Oh,
You
oh,
can,
no.
yeah, you can play it with that so that the crown is above the title. And then it will appear differently too when you have the text in the upper right-hand corner moved to a single line along the top.
The quote one?
Yeah, those. So
Okay.
change those and also change the color. And also for Kingdom Hearts,
Uh-huh.
I would change the color of that. Instead of a light blue, I would use maybe the gold color that you have.
Oh, the same gold color as the crown?
Well, a little bit lighter
A little bit lighter.
so that it really pops. It really reads strong. Because a deep blue against a deep background from a distance won't read that well. You need to think in terms of contrast, light and, lightness versus darkness.
Okay, so
Okay. And then the same with Rick and Kai's adventures and this down here, this needs to be moved up and probably reduced. And again, the same thing, doesn't need to
another color.
be quite so large. It could be a little bit smaller.
So like more like here?
Yeah, that would be fine.
And then same as the other one. Right?
Yeah. Make sure that these are centered. Make sure that the heart is centered in the middle of,
Okay.
yeah, and then the same to the left and to the right, or centered horizontally. Where it says holding in threads, or whatever that is, move that up a little bit.
This the quote?
Yeah, down here, the quote, move that up a little bit. No. Yeah, you're moving that. Those need to be on the same line instead of two lines. And then they can be up near the top. But again, make those white with a black drop shadow.
Okay, a black.
It's okay
Okay.
that the quotes down below where it says Rick and Kai's adventures and holding and what is that, clothing, something in threads?
It's just on the quote is an unbreakable connection is what that one is.
Okay.
So
Yeah, move that up, move it up, move it up, up,
Oh.
up, just underneath. There you go, right there. And leave that blue because
Okay.
you don't want that to pop as much as your title. What you're moving right now needs to be at the top, tippy top on one line, not two lines, one line, and centered.
Okay, I'll try to send. Oh, I'll finish. I'll
And then
try to do.
yeah, and then do a Google search
Oh,
and,
Google.
and find a movie poster. It would be under movie poster credits, and then look under images and you'll find tons of them. And find one with a white text with a transparent background.
Something like this, like, or
Yeah, as light as you can get it.
okay. So then you just want. So I just need to do is just make the Kingdom Hearts and then the Rick.
Leave Rick and
KHS the name.
Leave that blue.
Okay, leave it blue.
Let's change Kingdom Hearts to a lighter color so that it pops and it reads really strong.
Okay.
Make sure that the heart is centered in the middle of your screen too.
Okay.
And again, the thing that you have in the top right-hand corner, put that on one line.
Okay. No, I need to delete that.
Yeah, don't add any new tab. So cancel that. Go back.
Nope.
No.
Okay, I'll deal with that later. But so I just need to do is just change the Kingdom Hearts logo sign as yellow, like lighter yellow now.
Yep.
Okay, and then the other two
Leave them alone.
leave them alone, and then just center the heart. Okay.
Yep. And don't forget to add the credits. Okay.
All right, thank you, Professor.
Yeah, okay. Anybody else? Go ahead and stop the share. Okay. Anybody else? So I'm gonna panelists, and I'm gonna turn you back to What do I want to do? Change back to attendee. Okay. Anybody else? Is that Ray Gabriel? Do you have a question? Hold on here.
Can you help me with lesson 8 and look into my movie poster?
Okay, so what you need to do is you need to, I'm going to stop recording right now. I'm going to pause my recording.